Hi, my name is Brady Babbitt. I am a project controls manager with STV. As James Kurth highlighted in a previous panel, STV is a EPCM firm. We got a growing national practice and have a growing footprint here in Texas. So today in this panel, we're going to really talk through industry innovation when it comes to PMIS platforms, tools, and technology. And so one of the frameworks of innovation is through this concept of digital transformation that we've been talking about. And as agencies and owners and AEC firms will often have this great debate of, do we implement a off-the-shelf PMIS platform or different tools and technology, or do we build something in-house and custom? So today we got two pros in the industry to help talk through this great debate and have a discussion on this. So first we've got Nicholas Johnson, who's a veteran in the AEC industry, in the construction technology space. He helped bring the first cloud construction technology platform to the industry several years back. So he's going to take the argument of why we should be buying software as standalone solutions. And then with him, we have AJ Waters. He's no stranger to technology. He spent a significant portion of his career working for a contracting firm, and they built a number of different in-house tools. So AJ is going to be talking through why we should be building custom solutions in-house. So, Nicholas, we'll start off with you.
Thank you, Brady. I appreciate it. Everyone, I'm Nicholas Johnson. I'm the Chief Evangelist at Kahua. We are a project management information system, platform-based, and we've got a great story to tell. So I'd love to chat with you after this to tell our story. We're here not to talk about Kahua, though, but to talk about why you should buy commercial off-the-shelf software, as opposed to trying to build it yourself. It's simple. It's the best way to go. Really, you have a product that is ready when you buy it off the shelf. That's why we call it off the shelf. It's ready to go as soon as you're ready to use it. It's loaded with all the industry best practices already. You can improve your own business processes by adopting what has been proven elsewhere to work. And the technology that you are implementing will be maintained for you, constantly updated. It's really, I think, a simple no-brainer. Why would you try to build something that 98% of the world is buying off the shelf? There's a reason why everyone does it this way. Thank you.
So AJ, give us the reasoning for why we should be building custom tools instead.
It's interesting because everything you just said, Nicholas, is wrong. Also, by the way, thanks for dressing up today. I appreciate that. My name's AJ Waters, as mentioned, also with Kahua. I went to the University of Nebraska, so go Big Red.
That explains a few things.
But to be fair, y'all just kicked our butt in the national championship a couple months ago, so don't worry about it. So anyway, out-of-the-box software. We bought out-of-the-box software a few years back. We were promised. We had this bill of goods that was sold to us that it was going to work out of the box. And we got in there and we started looking at these industry best practices that it came with. And it didn't even understand Construction 101, like what's a change order or a back charge. It didn't know those things. So we started working on building it ourselves. You got to keep your competitive edge that way. The other thing that was interesting is you put together a requirements list for a PMIS system. That requirements list is old the day you send it to them. More requirements come and come and come and come. And when you build it yourself, you get to just keep working those in, right? You just continually to improve. We rolled out 4 products on our initial start. When we built this ourselves, we had 2 products on the back burner already ready to go because we could keep editing those requirements. We had to be specific, right? We'd always done it that way, and we wanted our processes our way.
Always done it that way. That's a great reason to do things. That's the most dangerous phrase in the construction business.
Well, we were successful, very successful. And so we were going to keep that secret sauce. We weren't going to let other people try to hammer our success. We had our standard operating procedures. We had people that we wanted to give jobs to, and we had resources to spend. And that's why building it yourself is a great way to go when you're looking at these requirements and everything changing.
So, AJ, you obviously have a lot of experience in building out custom tools. So, Nicholas, you said that everything Nicholas said is wrong. Give us a little more insight into what you really mean.
Who here's implemented software? Anybody? Couple of hands? How long did it take? Forever, right? Those implementations just go on and on. Construction gets a bad rap, right? Contractors get this rap. There's the meme that goes around social media, little dinghy called original contract, big yacht attached to it called change order, right? Construction gets this bad rap, but I really think that's software. That's like licensing fees, implementation, right? It just keeps going and going and going. And so you've got to realize that if you're going to save money and you're going to do things the way that you want them done, you build it yourself. Also, anybody ever tried on something that said one size fits all? Did it fit you? Because it doesn't fit me. And those one size fits all, I haven't seen a change order handled the same way on 2 projects, let alone across an entire enterprise solution, right?
Maybe that's where your meme about the change order yacht comes from.
Quiet. Anyway, so the last thing I'll say is, remember the changing requirements? What happens when you send a feature request into a software company? I don't know either. The black hole's a real thing, and you wait, and you wait. And I might as well get a ticket at the DMV, because I'm going to get through faster.
Well,
Go ahead, Brady.
Nicholas, would you like to respond to that
I would
rebuttal?
indeed like to respond to that diatribe. Let me get this right. You tried to implement an ERP software for project management, and you're surprised it didn't go well. I believe you also told us, AJ, that you spent 2 years developing your first tool, and when you were done, you still had 50% more work to do. That doesn't sound like a really swift rollout of your own product. So, you failed to mention, that it's not easy to create your own software. There are a lot of things that you have to know and think about as you're doing this. You're in the business of building capital projects, and you make magnificent structures and infrastructure, but you don't know how to make a GUI. Do you even know what a GUI is? It's not just something you get at the candy store. You can laugh, it's okay. You don't know the difference between an enter and a carriage return. You know the difference between...
Wait.
You know how to hang a
What
curtain
is the
wall.
difference between enter and return? Like, aren't they the same button? What's the difference?
No, son. A carriage return was something we used on a typewriter. It returned the machine to the other side so you could begin another line. And enter is something you do on a computer. You see, that's a great point, AJ. You're just not getting it.
That's where the several years comes into play?
Yet that's right. Those years have been beneficial. Perhaps you should pay attention. It leads to another point. You said also that you could tweak the software that you built. That sounds like you're going to continue working on this software. You're not going to do it one time and be done. You're going to always have to continue to tweak it. By the way, software companies will allow you to tweak their software as well. But with that, you don't have to continually rebuild your operating system. You don't have to maintain a help desk. Do you have a help desk internally for your software tools?
We had to spin one up, yes.
Yeah,
it worked well.
That didn't cost any money, did it?
They knew exactly what those people were talking about when they asked a question.
And as far as you go about this idea of, your business processes being so different, they're not, AJ. I'm sure that there are some secret sauces to how you run the back office, but a change order is a change order, and an RFI is an RFI. They're really not all that different.
We do not standardize anywhere, ever, which is why you got to be able to custom configure it.
Oh, my. I don't think you have to custom configure it. you're able to make these modifications with an off-the-shelf product.
Off the shelf, commercially, the same for everyone. That means we're sharing our procedures with everyone else.
Your procedures just aren't all that different.
Well, I don't know. I beg to differ. I mean, I can understand where like standardizing would be helpful, because you can share resources between different departments or different parts of the business, and maybe it does decrease your time to ROI or increase efficiency, but you still don't get what you want. You get what they give you.
What they give you is what you want. It's worth the trade-off. I'm telling you, it's worth the trade-off. You can, it's worth the trade-off if you can fill in those gaps, those things that you didn't get when you bought it off the shelf, and you could kind of fill in those holes that weren't exactly like what you want. You're able to do that if you're able to customize a little bit.
Well, if you start doing the customizing, then you start retraining people a lot, right? Because every time you reconfigure something, you got to go rewrite training material. You've got to, you would have to make sure that the base functionality, like the base UI, didn't change. There were no silos between the way people operated with different products. Otherwise, you're retraining everything. Everything's clunky. It's siloed. I go from entering a change order to trying to look at my forecast, and I don't know which one's which.
So you're saying that you should standardize on all these things, and I think you've got to be able to adjust on the fly.
I don't know. I think if you're going to, if you want it to be efficient and you really want to be able to get it rolled out quickly, clearly you have to buy the software. You have to buy it off the shelf because it's going to be already done. It'll go out a lot faster, and everyone will know how to use it and be able to transition back and forth.
No, the only way you're going to be able to do this the way you want is if you build it yourself to your own specs. That way, it'll be really easy to adapt.
No. You gotta buy it. You gotta buy it off the shelf.
Building it's the only way to go.
Nope.
All right, hold on a minute here. You guys just flip sides. So since you guys can't keep it straight over here, I'm going to give a different perspective to the group today. So when we went through the process of deciding what PMIS tool to implement on the Houston Airport program for the Terminal B renovation with United Airlines, we definitely did not want to build our own custom tool. We knew that that was not the right solution. We're there to build an airport, help United Airlines run their operation. We're not experts in software technology development. We also understood that off-the-shelf solutions weren't going to give us the flexibility and adaptability that's needed for the special requirements in building and constructing at an airport. It's not the same as working on a K-12 program or a hospital or building a house. So we needed to be able to find a solution that allowed us to have some standard industry specifications that came off the shelf, but be able to do more than just configure it. We needed the ability.
I think he just said you're wrong.
Let him speak, would you?
Yeah, we needed the ability to be able to customize base applications to the specifics of the program in Houston and United's specific business processes and adapt to those. So what we found is that rather than a software as a solution, we landed on a platform as a solution. So it enabled us to have a base configuration, stand up processes quickly, but then be able to customize those to how United Airlines operated and how the program wanted to run that specific project.
Brady, I think we've got a slide to help you talk through that. And thank you all for indulging in our little bit of humor in front of this.
So really, as a platform, as a service, it's a low-code application. So you can make the customizations without having to have a technology team that understands how code structure works, the intricacies of relationship databases, but it gives us the ability to create those custom applications in a flexible environment. I don't know, Nicholas, if there's additional.
I think that's a really good summary. You've got the best of both worlds. The argument whether or not you can use it off the shelf, well, you can. You can use a platform as a service off the shelf, but you can also then do those minor tweaks that we continue to talk about. But if you've got something that's major, like AJ's position of our business processes are so different from anyone else's, or there's a business process that the software vendor didn't think about, you can actually create those on your own. Kind of several ways to do that. You have the ability to build it yourself, because these are low-code tools. They're sometimes referred to as low-code, no-code. You can literally write software by clicking and dragging pictures. I don't want to understate that, but it's something that platform as a service clients can do for themselves. They could also engage an ecosystem of partners. Kahua is a company that has an ecosystem of partners. I'm sure that all the software vendors here would say the same thing. We've got partners that actually have gone through a process to learn how to use the tool to create these applications themselves. Now, that's now about 100 companies, about 1,000 individuals trained. And it leads me to the kind of the last part of this development bottleneck that we want to talk about. The third option is to have the vendor themselves provide the software, to write the software for you. I'm going to go back in history. The first 20 years of my career, I was a design engineer working for a construction management company. So kind of got to touch both sides of AEC. In that role, I learned about a company called Constructware. And 6 months after I learned about them, I went to work for them. Constructware was a great little company. It was the first company that brought project management to the internet. The absolute first company that said, you should manage your projects on the internet. The initial reception was not kind, but the idea was so good, it could not be held back. And now you can't imagine doing a project without using the internet to collaborate on. The problem that we encountered at Constructware was that we had a limited number of developers. We were a small company. We learned later that it doesn't matter how large your company is, you still have a limited number of developers. We were acquired by Autodesk and thought, excellent, now thousands of developers can help do all the things we dreamed about. The reality was, when we were acquired, Autodesk had 1,000 other priorities, and we got less development time. The issue that we encountered was that when you, the customer, came to us and said, there's this thing I want to do, this change I want to make, this improvement that I think would help everybody in the industry. When you came to us and told us that, we said yes, if it was a good idea that would help the entire client base. And when we sold this little company to Autodesk, our client enhancement list that we'd agreed to put on the list was 2,200 items. If you're a platform as a service and you can build it for yourself, or you can hire a technology firm to build it for you, then you have the option that you don't have to wait on that. And if the application will make sense or make money, someone will do it, and they'll do it right away. So that's a great advantage of this platform technology versus traditional software as a service.
And Nicholas mentions the 2,200 items. When we finished rolling out our build, we built it all on premise in 2015 and went, whoops, because we didn't have the internet to collaborate with. So we went and we rebuilt. And in June of 2015, we wrote the first line of brand new code. Started from zero, had to rewrite it again to put it in the cloud. So it's not like building solves that 2,200 list either. If you got the same problem, you got to start all over if you don't realize some of the trends.
You just can't go to your vendor and complain about it.
Exactly. You go to that internal help desk that costs you all that money.
So, Nicholas, do you want to talk through how platform as a service can provide enhanced security to your data?
Absolutely, yeah. So these are just a few examples of security certifications that our company's achieved. The nice thing, though, about platform as a service, if your platform has achieved a security standard like FedRAMP or StateRAMP, which here in Texas we call TexRAMP, if you've achieved that, everything you build on top of the platform is automatically FedRAMP authorized, StateRAMP authorized, TexRAMP authorized. So it's a serious advantage when you're trying to develop new tools. The security protocols are built into the platform, and you can't build anything on top of it that is not likewise authorized.
And security and these big words like state ramp and fed ramp, that's one side of the coin. But even before you get to whether or not your platform's authorized for federal projects, you have the roles and permissions to deal with. And like when we custom built our software, we didn't understand what roles and permissions were. Like you had an Office 365 email address, you were in the system. How did we keep you out of a change order that you weren't supposed to see, or an RFI that wasn't, or a project in general that was supposed to be off the books, right? You couldn't do that kind of roles and permission stuff unless you thought of that first. And when you're building from scratch, that's the last thing on your mind. That and UI, UX, like you said, GUI. GUIs? What are GUIs? I remember the first time I saw the word GUI and I was like, what does that even mean?
So then give us examples and talk through what it means to future-proof a product and how the platform as a service lets you do that.
Yeah, I'm going to actually stand up so I can. I think you've got a couple more slides that we can share. We like to think of platform technology as a kind of a Lego system. Blocks that you can pull out and replace. They're interchangeable. They all kind of fit together, but mostly they're interchangeable. And this slide is an example of the platform that we created. Again, we're talking about platform generically, we think is a better option. In 2011, as we were still in research and development, the initial platform that Kahua was built on had components that were state-of-the-art. The company was started in 2009. We did 5.5 years of research and development before we created a product. So this is still while we're developing. And we had Silverlight, Xamarin, and Java were some of the technologies we used. If you roll forward to 2014, the year that we did actually release the first product, we had added another layer, which was an application we call K-Builder. It's actually a suite of tools that lets you, a client or one of our partners, or even our developers, create apps that work on top of the platform. So we go forward. AJ?
Think like Xcode for Macs, right? Like that's what it is.
Fast forward to 2021, some of the key technologies like Silverlight, which was the latest, greatest thing that most developers were using at the time, it had been replaced with WPF. We had added FedRAMP in 2021, which is simply 327 control points that have to be audited. And as we go forward, we continue 2023, we added an app supplement that allowed all of our apps to automatically be updated. We went from 3 different GUI hosts to 1 standard. That's a big deal. Again, all these technologies are just being replaced without any of the people using an application ever knowing about it. So this really allows you to extend the life of your software. It won't die the traditional death. I talked to the CIO of Lend-Lease last year. He told me that in his career, as he implemented software as a service, as soon as they got to a point where they felt like they were implemented, you can think that, he said he began to watch his software die. As soon as you get it in, it begins to hit the curve of aging out. Then that might take years. It might take a few years. It might be closer than you think. But if you can extend the life of your technology stack through using a platform as a service, you extend your investment. So we think that's a huge, huge benefit.
And if you're like me and you're kind of going, I still don't really understand. What do you mean platform as a service? Like what does that really entail? Your phone is a platform as a service. Out of the box, it works with the table stakes, phone, mail, messages, calendar, calculator, right? Out of the box, it has the table stakes things a phone should have. A platform as a service is going to have out of the box the table stakes things a project management system should have: documents, costs, scope, etc. And the difference is when you decide you don't like iMessage, you prefer WhatsApp, right? You go get an app that somebody wrote, or if you're good at Swift, you go rewrite one yourself, right? And so that's where platform as a service comes into play. Your phone operates that way. They change out back-end stuff all the time that you never really know. The phone still runs, right? And that's the same sort of thing.
AJ, you're an Apple guy, right?
I am.
Well, that figures. I'm an Android guy.
of course.
It does make sense. Android, Google built a platform, they called it Android, but they allowed other people to write apps on it, to develop on it, which is, again, the whole idea here is that development doesn't have to happen just by Google. That Google didn't write the LinkedIn app or the Georgia Bulldogs app or the Hilton Hotels app or any of these other, they didn't write my solitaire game that I play when I'm on the airplane. They created a platform that others could contribute to, including me. If I want, I can write an app and put it on this phone. That's the advantage. And again, I never think about all the underlying stuff. I just use a low-code technology. I click and drag some pictures, and I've got a new solitaire game to play. I oversimplify, but just a bit. It's how a platform as a service works. Versus traditional software as a service is that you built a foundation that is fixed and firm. You're in the building industry. You put a foundation in for a house, for a skyscraper, for a road. You have a particular design in mind. You have an end in mind. You can't now, though, build that house foundation and then later want to come back and put a skyscraper on it. You built it for a house. That's all it's going to hold. Okay, so you can't undo your foundation without, as AJ said in his previous life as a contractor, when they created software and they wanted to make a major change, they had to go in and bust the foundation up and basically start all over. That's the inherent advantage of a platform as a service.
Yeah, so to summarize, platform as a service has cost savings advantages, right? It gives you that level of flexibility. It gives you the agility to add in additional applications, adjust your work processes as you're, ramping up a program or in the middle of a program and a new process comes up that you've got to implement. The security pieces, as you build those new applications and you put them into place, it's not going to disrupt your security permissions and your certifications when it comes to that platform. And then it extends that life of that software. So you get through that implementation and you're not on that tail end of the software and thinking about re-implementation of a new system.
Yep.
And here's one of my favorite things about it, especially everybody looks at software and goes, oh, I'm going to lose my job. Right now with AI, that's the big fear, right? Everybody looks at if you built something internally and you see a software off the shelf coming in, you go, oh no, I'm going to lose my job. But with a platform as a service, you still are custom building things, right? That's where you don't lose those people. They still have value to custom build those apps.
I would just add on the note about agility, we make a point of differentiating between being flexible and being agile. A train is actually a pretty flexible thing. It bends, right? It goes to a lot of places. It can carry a lot of stuff. It's flexible in a way, but it's not agile. You can't turn a train 90 degrees, and you can't turn it around very easily. So there's a difference between being able to be flexible and do a lot of things. And I'll just, rather than name a name, we'll just say Acme Software Company is the gigantic software company. They have gigantic database-driven tools, and you can get Acme to do just about anything you can imagine. But if it's not what you first paid them for, it's going to take a while, and it's going to cost a lot. If you're agile, you can adjust to things very quickly and very inexpensively. That's I would say, why we put that on this list of things. Being flexible is great, but when code changes come, or when a new board of directors comes with a different set of priorities, or when your client just changes their mind about what they want, you have to be able to adjust on the fly almost. So,
great.
I'm not flexible, but I am kind of agile. I cannot touch my toes. Are you either?
Can you touch the rim?
I can touch the rim.
Okay,
See?
there you go.
Other way.
Brady, we want to thank you for being part of this fiasco, and
Yeah.
hope you had some fun with it. Hope you all had some fun too. Thanks very much.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.